Hey guys, it's Saffold, and thank you so much for tuning back into the Balanced Mom TV, a space designed to empower and inspire moms and moms-to-be like you who are on the journey to create the well-balanced life that they deserve. Be sure to stay connected and up to date with all of our interviews, reviews, and how-tos by simply clicking on the red subscribe button below. And also, to get even more content, make sure you follow my personal blog and website at saffold.com. Today I'm so excited because we're having our second ever How Does She Do It interview featuring a powerhouse of a woman that has one of my very favorite organizations that I love to support. Today we're going to be hanging out and talking all about how she founded her company and how she's balancing motherhood with an expansive career life. Okay, Neferteri, so I just want to start by saying thank you so much, first of all, for even coming over. I know you're super busy, you got a lot going on, but for you to come and share your time so that a lot of women can get inspired, hear your story, and just see how great the work that you're doing. I think it's so incredible, so valuable, and just want to say thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
So I know you mentioned that you are originally from Louisiana.
Yes.
You grew up in the Bay Area. But what exactly landed you here in Los Angeles?
Originally I came to Los Angeles because I have a modeling contract.
Okay.
I got my first modeling contract when I was 18 years old.
Awesome.
And I was going back and forth between the Bay Area and LA. And then as I started building up a momentum, I just decided to live in LA because that's where most of my work was.
Right. So tell me, when did your kids come into play? Because I know you have a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Yes, I do. 2 little boys.
Awesome.
You know, I met, after I moved back from Miami to Los Angeles, I ended up meeting, a friend of ours connected my ex-husband and I.
Okay.
And we, he was like, okay, he thought that we would be a good match.
Right.
And so we dated and got to know each other. And then we got married. We had 2 little boys. And that was kind of, you know, what kind of started me in the world of, you know, being a mom and a mompreneur.
Yes.
And even just, when I was pregnant, I was still modeling.
Wow.
So it was like I never really dropped the ball.
Right.
Not all the way. And then I have my modeling agency. I've been with them since I was 18 years old. I've been with the same agency.
That's amazing.
I know. And so even like on my first castings, she would watch my kids for me.
Oh my gosh.
And they're a pretty big agency.
Hey.
She would be like, just bring the kids to me. And she loved it. They would like sleep on her chest. And she'd be like, okay, go to your casting. And I would come back and pick them up.
That's so great.
And it was just, it's like a family. You know, when you meet really good people in Los Angeles, it is definitely a blessing. Because you hear the horror stories of, you know, people who are not real and they're fake and all this kind of thing. So when you meet people who are like family, it's priceless.
Absolutely.
For sure.
So, back to your husband.
Yes.
Your now ex-husband.
Now ex-husband.
But you guys have a great co-parenting relationship.
We do. We co-parent well. You're not really there to get along or have an understanding, right? For me, how I come at it is the kids.
Right.
I don't worry about what he has going on. Prefer if he doesn't worry about what I have going on. When are you coming to get the kids? When are you dropping off? And what do you need?
Right.
That's it. And that's the world I live in. And so it works for me. And then it keeps you, as a female, it keeps you in an emotional balance to where you don't try to still be too attached, you know, because there's definitely some attachment there. You had a family, you were married, this person was in your life every day, and now they're not there, or they're there in a different way, and so it's an adjustment period.
I bet.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I love what you said, that when you focus on the kids, you know, everything else
falls into
place. And that's awesome, because I know it's hard to do. It's got to be hard to do. Like you said, it's not natural.
It's not natural.
So I really applaud you for having that.
You.
And I'm sure your kids, you know, are reaping the benefits.
When the children get older and you really check in with them, if you're able to adjust, I'm an adjuster of life. Like I can give and I can take and I can sit on it for a second. I might not take it in right in the moment. I might have to think about that for a second. I'm like, what did I do that? I'm like, okay, wait, maybe I did do that. You know, and I want my kids to have a really amazing childhood.
Yeah.
And they're growing up in an environment of a split home, but they don't have to have a split family.
Exactly.
Right. And so my mom is involved, their dad's involved, my stepdad's involved, you know, I'm involved, their dad's amazing. I'm raising 2 boys who are really, at the end of the day, I'm raising men.
Right.
And so I really remind myself that I'm leaning on him for that. He's there. So let him be the leader. He's still the leader of our family unit. Right. Even though he's not my husband. And so I like that. Yeah. Some people may not. Sometimes early on there was a little resistance because you're having to let control go. You know, you're having your kids with you every day, and then they're with him half the time. Right. And that was really difficult. But now I know how to utilize that. That's how I'm able to do a lot of the things that I do with my business and in the community is just allowing him to be their dad and not trying to get in the way of that.
So that actually brings me to my next question. You mentioned now that the kids are with their dad half the time, you know, have more time to have a career and everything else you're doing. How exactly are you balancing motherhood with this expansive career life?
Well, that's an interesting question. I really am a powerful enroller. So I enroll people into my life and into my visions. Yes. And so I don't look at what I'm creating as something I'm creating on my own. It's something that's a collective. Because it's not for me, it's for everyone. Absolutely. It's for the universe, right? So as I draw people in and I give people placements of power in the realm that I create, it allows me to do more. Yes. Right? So I could have 3 different events in one day because I have a team that I trust. And not only do I trust them, but I allow them to do them. Yeah. Like it's almost like letting go of the control and letting their own individual creativity come about. But if you have your platform for any business, if you have like your structure, we do A, B, and C, and everybody knows no matter what, as long as you do A, B, and C, you can then bring your own heart, your own personality to the experience, right? And so that's really how I'm able to feel like I'm able to do it all, to balance it all, to allow myself to be a mom, to be an entrepreneur, to have a marketing company, have an event company, be able to have a nonprofit, run a board, create 2 to 3 events a month just within the nonprofit and have clients. Girl. And I have people around me that remind me to eat. They remind me to take a nap, to go to bed. They check in with me. You know what I mean? It's like when you really say, okay, God, I want to do something that's going to literally affect the planet. Like I want to make a mark on the world. Right. You have to allow him to cover you. Right. And so you say, however that's going to happen, I don't know. This is just what I would like for it to look like. And then let him take control of it from there.
Okay. So now I want to talk all about Single Moms Planet. I'm wondering, how did this happen? You know, I'm sure that you being newly single had a little bit to do with it. But tell me how you created this full nonprofit organization.
Well, Single Moms Planet came about from a need, and it was primarily my own personal need. Yeah. I would kind of go to like a couple of mommies groups. I had girlfriends who were married. I had girlfriends who were single. I had my mother, but no one really seemed to understand how to navigate me through the waters of like newly single motherhood, because it's really raw. Yeah. And it's almost like a culture shock. Yeah. You know, one minute you have a support system that's in the home daily, and the next minute you're like, what in the world? I can't even take a shower. Right. You know, I'm like strapping my baby in the car seat. I'm making sure my 3-year-old stays alive while I'm in the shower. You know, just the basic necessities, like wanting to go to the store. You have to like pack a whole family up to go to the store. Exactly. You know, so it was really interesting for me, and I really could not figure out, how do you balance it, have a life, and move on.
Yeah.
And so a really good friend of mine had actually told me about the Landmark Forum. So the Landmark Forum is a transformational education.
Okay. And
he actually sponsored me to go, which was a blessing. And it's a 3-step program. The last program is called SELP, which is Self-Expression and Leadership.
Okay.
And in that program, you create a project, and that project has to be something that you want to do or a community that you impact, but it's not about you.
Okay.
So now you're stepping outside of you and you're helping the community, you're helping the world.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that was how Single Moms Planet started, because I chose to do a community event that would help single mothers and children.
Okay.
And so our first event was 100 Single Moms brunch. I was a sponsor and 2 other of my friends were sponsors as well. And we had 100 single moms there. We had a keynote speaker. We had a panelist. We had like about 3 different panelists. We did arts, crafts, and activities in childcare for the children. We did it at Maggiano's at the Grove.
Okay.
And it was really, really amazing. And the moms didn't want to leave. So it was like a 4-hour event. And they were like, so what's next? I'm like, I have nothing for you. Like, this is it. I'm like, well, what do you guys want to do? We did have surveys there to kind of collect and see like what people wanted to do. And the number one thing, there's a lot of moms groups. But a lot of moms have different issues or things that they're dealing with than a single mother. Right. Single Moms Planet was really birthed to separate this way of thinking. And the main way of thinking is I got to get it done and I got to do it by myself. And remove the abandonment. Because a lot of moms, even if you have dad that lives around the corner who's there all the time with the kid, for some reason they still have a mentality of abandonment. And then a lot of women are dealing with daddy issues. Right. And so then you add the daddy's abandonment or some type of issue they have with him. And so it just becomes like a generational repeat. Yeah. And so for me, I really was like, okay, we got to go in and mentor these moms. We got to go in no matter how old or young they are, or no matter if their kids are 18 or if their kids are newborns. We have to engage them. We have to let them know that there's someone here. So we try to really get out of that mode. A lot of our moms get remarried, they enter into healthy, happy relationships. They go back to school, they start their own businesses. We mentor, I'm big on business, so I mentor a lot of the moms into building their own brands and their own business. We help 3 to 4 moms a year launch their companies with helping them. We actually put the events on for their launch. When you step into a single mom's life, if you choose, even if you take on 1 a year, you say, you know what, I want to have 1 mom a year. I give people the Help a Single Mom a Year challenge, okay? Oh my God. If she tells you she doesn't need help, she's lying. If you could bring her a bag of groceries, if you could sweep her porch, if you can do a pile of laundry, if you take her kids to the park, it is a blessing. She does not get 30 minutes. Her day is packed with kids. It's packed with work. When she goes to work, it's work. And she's still thinking about her kids, just like any mother. Exactly. You know? And so I think the single mother syndrome is we're not going to ask for help. And so you just have to offer it. Yeah. Well, you're, like you said, you're filling such a big void that, you know, it's not a lot. Because like you said, it's a niche kind of community. And a lot of people, if you haven't gone through it, you don't exactly know what it's like to be a single mom. True. But everybody knows a single mom, you know? It's like, it's not rare, you know, and there's so much need. And I'm so happy that you are providing programs, you know, to get these people some financial freedom and experiences for their children. So we're a membership-based organization. Okay. Single Moms Planet is a membership-based organization where we also mentor our moms. So there's like almost like 2 levels of Single Moms Planet. There's the mom who is like the mentor. So she may be like a lawyer or a judge, or she may have adult children and she just wants to give back and mentor moms in the community. And then we have the moms who are maybe fresh off the boat, like, you know, they just had a baby or they just had a divorce and it's really raw for them. And so they kind of need that support. They're trying to figure out how to get through it. They're probably crying every day, you know, just trying to figure out the day-to-day lifestyle, and then how do I do it alone? You know, it really takes that balance. And I know the show is Balanced Mom, but it is. I really, when we designed the programs, we did a lot of surveys, and we wanted to make sure that we did education, but we also did lifestyle and fun. You know, because you don't want to just give people a bunch of information, but then not give them anything that they're like, okay, letting their hair down a little bit.
So the services and the programs that you're providing for these moms and their kids are truly invaluable. Like, it's so amazing. And like you said, it's not just a mom issue, it's a community issue. It's a global issue. 1 in every 3 kids have a single mom, grow up with a single mom. And that's daunting. Like, a lot of people don't know those statistics. What is your vision for Single Moms Planet, and what do you want people to take away about, you know, this global community issue?
For me, with Single Moms Planet, one of my #1 missions and visions is to change the face of single motherhood. I feel like single motherhood has been looked at as something that you shun, or something that is a governmental issue, a welfare issue, and even as sometimes an African American issue. And so for me, the one thing that I sought out to do was to find single mothers that wanted to be a part of the organization, that come from every ethnic background. From multi-millionaires to a mom who barely can pay her light bill. But when you bring those two worlds together, the mom who can't pay her light bill can see that she can be a multi-millionaire. And she could see that it's not her skin color issue, it's a global issue, it's an economic issue. A lot of times you're just going from one generation of single motherhood to the next generation of single motherhood, and it's usually based upon the environment they're being birthed in. And so just showing them a different way.
Well, I love that. I'm speaking that into existence. I see that happening. You are not far. You are on an amazing journey.
Thank you.
And it's only been, what, 4 years?
This is our 4th year.
So that's amazing. You've accomplished so much in so little time. Speaking of, you've got the 4th annual Single Moms Planet Award ceremony, which is super exciting.
Thank you.
That's actually how I met you. Because Roger was involved last year, and he came home just gloating about it, how amazing it was, and I have to meet you, and I'm so glad you connected us, and I'm so excited to be a part of this year's awards.
We're so happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Truly.
It's going to be amazing. You guys honor moms across all different kind of categories. It's a blessing.
So our Single Mom of the Year, our Single Mom Award show, I'm like, I don't think single moms know how awesome they are. That was really how the concept came about. It's like, I think people get acknowledged for like their accolades, but they don't get acknowledged for being a mom. Which is like, if your mom is not kick ass, you're not getting any accolades. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are not. Some people can do it without mom, but it's very few. Mom helps you get it done. If you have a mom who's in your corner, it's not about her being the CEO of this and that. It was because she was a mom. She made your sandwich. She put a Band-Aid on your boo-boo, you know what I mean? And she got you to class, she got you to your camps, your sports. That is what builds the leaders that we have. That is what builds the great people that we have on the planet. And so I was like, wow, what if we honored moms? What if we, and then we're Single Moms Planet, what if we honor single moms? And so we honor single moms who typically have gotten some type of progressiveness in life, whether if they started their own company or their own business, and they get to tell us their story and their journey of how they did it. And so we started Single Moms Awards 4 years ago. This is our 4th year. We have categories from Sports Mom of the Year, which we're honoring Gail Jackson, who is Deshaun Jackson's mother. Garcelle Bouvier, who's our Single Mom of the Year in Entertainment and Film. We have political figures that are being honored, corporations that are all women owned. There's a company called Hop Skip Drive, which is super cute. They're like Uber for kids.
That's so awesome.
It's really cute. I think just bringing it out to the fold to let people know, like, this is single motherhood. This is single motherhood. Not necessarily what they're showing you on TV.
Yeah.
You know, educate yourself. If one in three children are being raised by a single mother, your child could end up marrying a child being raised by a single mother.
Exactly.
Or your son could marry a single mother.
Exactly.
Because the pickings, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're going to school with little boys and girls who are being raised in a single mother household or an environment. And so that's why I really was saying to you when we talked before, it's not an individual family issue. It really is a community and global issue. And I would just say it's a calling for me. And I love it. And I love having something to wake up to that's bigger than myself.
Yeah. Well, Neferteri, this has been a lovely conversation. This was more than I could have bargained for. You left us with so much valuable information. It's amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And can you just one more time just let everybody know who you are and how they can stay connected with you?
I'm Neferteri Plessy, the founder and CEO of Single Moms Planet, and you can find us at singlemomsplanet.com. On social media, you can follow us at Single Moms Planet for Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I want to personally thank the Saffolds for having me at their lovely home today and for supporting us with the Single Mom Awards. I also want to thank Asia for the amazing interview with the Balanced Mom.
Okay guys, thank you so much for hanging out and listening in on my conversation with Neferteri Plessy, founder and CEO of Single Moms Planet. If you like this interview, please give us a thumbs up and also stay tuned for the next How Does She Do It interview next month. For all the information that we talked about in this conversation, just look in the description box below. We'll have links to her websites, my handles, and everything else that you need. In the meantime, I hope you guys stay blessed, stay balanced. You deserve it.